Hello, welcome to Let's Go Dad. My name is Nick, and if we haven't met before, I am a youth pastor as well as a foster parent. I know most of the stuff we talk about on here is about me being a foster parent or an adoptive parent, but I'm also a youth pastor. That's been a huge part of my life and my family's life for a long time. Let me tell you, that's why it is so hard and so emotional right now, as we have just announced to the church that I am no longer going to be in that position. I am moving on and accepting another position.
2, 3.
Let's go. So first off, I want to give you a little bit of history. When I was about 15 years old, there was this lady, wonderful lady at our church. This was back in California. Wonderful, wonderful lady. Her name is Nancy, and she came up to me and said, "Nick, wouldn't you like to help lead the 5th and 6th grade youth group?" And I was a little shocked at that and how that would work, but it ended up being that me and this girl, her name was Allie, ended up being the co-leaders, or if you want to call us, youth directors for the 5th and 6th grade youth group at our church. And it was awesome. And then I kind of grew up with that group. So those 5th graders and 6th graders, especially the 5th graders, as I moved up and they moved up into middle school and then high school youth group, I kept working with them. Now, mostly as a volunteer. Once in a while they paid me, in college, during some college times they paid me a little bit, but mostly as a volunteer as I was going through, because it was just a huge part of who I was. Of course I was going to volunteer in youth group. Of course I was. That's who I am. That was 25 years ago. And one way or another, I have volunteered in youth ministry or served part-time or full-time in youth ministry. I've been involved for 25 years. That's a long time. And I've loved it, and it's been amazing, and I've seen kids turn their lives around and seen kids become passionate about things like serving others through good works and take positions and aim their careers at doing community service things that are beautiful and wonderful, or going into ministry as well. I've seen amazing things happen. I've seen people just completely change their lives around from where they're coming from into something beautiful, and into something filled with hope and joy. And I've loved being part of that. I've loved that God has called me into that. However, I'm looking at this stage in my life as a parent, and I see that it's really hard to be a youth pastor and also be a parent, especially a youth pastor of a teenager, but also just a parent, because I end up working a lot of nights every week, and that makes it hard to be fully present with my children. And if I'm really committed to foster care, then that might not work very well. I also end up being gone at least for 1 week in the summer for a mission trip. Often in youth ministry, it means 1 or 2 more weeks in the summer for camps. It means that I'm gone 4 or 5 weekends out of a year for retreats and overnights I do, and all these other things, prayer retreats and 30-hour famine and all these community fundraisers as well. My time is sucked up by a lot of things that require me to be away from home. And it's a beautiful ministry, and I love doing it, but I've really been feeling this call in my life, this pull, this tug on my heart, whatever you want to say, to look at social services more carefully. And so as I've explored, I happened to find an open position, and I applied for it. I said, we'll see what happens. And I applied for this position working with children's services. Now I have been offered and accepted that position. Why? Why have I accepted this position? Well, one, again, my heart feels tugged in that direction. And I have to believe, for those of you who believe in God, I have to believe that's a God thing. That God is aiming my life, and has been really for a while, turning my life and the work of my life in that direction. I think that's huge and critically important to who I am and what I'm called to do here. The other thing is for family. Obviously, I want to make sure that I am having a job that makes it so that I can do family stuff. And I believe this will, especially because where I'm working has a separate on-call department where they take the after-hour phone calls and emergencies. They handle most of that. Finally, I want to say, not only do I feel led, like my heart is tugged, to move into like a social services way of serving our community, I also feel a real need to understand the foster care system better. I feel like I've got a ways to go in seeing the whole picture from multiple angles. And I feel like that's really critical, that more of us can see the picture of the foster care system from multiple angles so that we can speak truth into it, and so that we can truly be of service to the community through foster care. I think until we see this from more angles, it's hard to hear all the voices, to take every perspective into account. And so how can we advocate for a system or for changes in the system if we're seeing a very unilateral picture of that system? I want to be clear. I feel like I'm called into this spot. I don't know how God is going to use me in this system. I don't know how the community is going to be served through me in this system exactly, but I'm excited about it. I am. Now, I talked to you today Today's been a great day and a really hard day at the same time because I'm getting all these text messages from families, which if you're watching, and I know a couple of you watch, thank you so much. I'm getting these heartfelt text messages and emails from people, which thank you so much for responding, and I appreciate getting to know your family and getting to work with your kids. I've really enjoyed that and grown from that, so thank you so much for that chance over the past 4 years at the church I'm currently serving. Oh, how is Robert doing with the change? Robert is okay. I think he's a little sad. It's funny because it was hard for him having me as a youth pastor in some ways. He really missed me when I was away and everything. And all the nights and things, it really does disrupt our life a bunch when I'm doing youth ministry. And plus, it's like I'm doing 2 ministries because foster care is a mission and a ministry in and of itself. And so it's really hard that I do 2 ministries at once. It really affects us. So it's been hard on him, but also like and I can speak to this because I went through this as well. He having a parent as a youth pastor, I think was hoping that someday he would get to do all the really cool stuff with youth group that he heard about us doing all the time. And now with a new person coming in, some of that stuff will change. Hopefully he'll adjust and jump in and kind of get through that just fine and be excited about the stuff that they're going to do. Robert is happy I'm going because I'm going to be home most nights. Like, there might be some nights that I work, but it's not going to be like now. It's not going to be so constant and so much a part of our lives that every Wednesday and every Friday and every Sunday and, that I'm just disappearing. At my last church, gosh, it was like Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Sunday nights, and I want to say Thursday nights because I had college group as well. But so he's excited that my nights are free because it's really hard to be a parent when you work a lot of nights. It's been cool that he's been able to be engaged as he's gotten older in different youth programs so that he's not completely left out and I'm not gone every night. In fact, if he wasn't able to be engaged in these youth programs, I probably would have left a long time before. But it's still not the same. And he spends a lot of time at church reading books, sitting in a chair, which isn't super fair to him. I hope that eventually I'll grow into someone who can have more of a perspective on this. I'll also have a better understanding of the system so that when people ask me questions, I should have better answers. Like, let's hope, right? Either way, here we go. Man, I look forward to this crazy journey with you. Let me say this too, if you're seeing the foster care system from one perspective, you're either an awesome foster parent, or you're someone who survived the system as a family whose child was in the system, or you're someone who survived the system as a youth or a child and has come through foster care, or you're someone who's worked for children's services. I really encourage you. I really encourage you to listen to other voices because my life has been changed by listening to so many different voices around the foster care system. Hopefully as I begin this journey and move through this journey, at least the conversations will be there and you'll know I'm more open to conversations around how the system has affected you negatively and what you think from your perspective should be changed. I hope I can bring that to the table with me. Just so you know though, I'm not leaving the church high and dry. I'm planning to be able to serve as a very part-time youth pastor for a while they're looking for a new person. So I'm not just leaving. and I think that shows you too that my relationship with the church is still really good, that they would trust me to do that and trust me to hand the baton off that way. By the way, a few other things here. We did a respite and I never mentioned it on our channel. So we've done respites. We're not getting placements right at this moment. That's fine. But We've done a respite. That was a wonderful thing. I attended in-person support groups this last week, which was amazing. And sometime I should do a video about that. But that was awesome. That was a great thing. Robert's getting close to being free for the summer from school. So if you have tips or suggestions on things kids can do, 14-year-olds can do when they are off of school for the summer, we would love that. Anything other than playing video games and reading books all day, because that is what he hopes to do. But that obviously can't be an all-day thing. And thank you for everyone who's liked and commented on our channel. We love being part of this community. It's actually been one of the most shocking things about doing YouTube is to find that we really get to know a lot of you. We have this community with you. There's other channels that I feel really close to. There's people who've written a lot on our channel who almost feel like family to us, like some of the folks that we've talked back and forth with here. And so we love that. Thank you so much for being part of this channel. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for subscribing. And let's go, Dad.